Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Jamie K, and I'm here with the wonderful, talented, vivacious.
Carlene. We're
Le-
over here bumping to the intro, or yeah, that's what we call it, the intro. Before we proceed with our conversation, I just wanted to um, let you know that I'm really ashy right now, right? I'm looking kind of ashy.
Yes, you are looking
Yes.
very, very, very
Very
ashy.
ashy, yes. Why you have to put the emphasis on the very, very?
Because I wanted them to know how dope this product is.
Okay, so just really a quick, what would we call this? Commercial or no? It's more like an
Advertisement,
advertisement.
public service announcement, PSA.
Yeah, so I just received this Be Totally Well whipped body butter, and it's lavender orchid rose, and it smells what?
Oh, lovely, heavenly.
It smells pretty much amazing. So it's not for you.
I know I want to show the people.
Oh,
It's not for me.
it's not for him. It's for me.
Who'd you get this from?
I got this from Be Totally Well. It's Candice Nicoleau's product.
Candace, thanks for making my wife smell heavenly.
Yeah, man, and I feel super moisturized right now, so I think we're definitely ready to go. Now that I know that I am moisturized, and yeah,
Moisturized and ready to go. Yo, we are back with another wonderful episode of Jamie and Carlene. David Michael Wilson said on the Sabbath, hey, we're promoting another 7-day Adventist.
exactly.
So don't play a hate, congratulate, participate, go get some
After the
product.
sun sets, of course.
Get that product.
Oh my god.
You need that in your life.
Yes, we all need lotion in our life, don't
For
we?
real, for real,
Shoot.
for real. You don't want to look like
Some more than others.
you've been looking like you rolling in flour. What's wrong with you?
Exactly, exactly.
That's right, Candice Nicoleau.
That's right. Thanks for shouting her out, tagging her in this post or in this video. All right, so you ready, Jamie?
Yeah, we got an exciting show. I'm gonna freestyle at the end as usual. I know that's why you're here. You're looking forward to it. How many people we got watching us? 11 people? Is it 10? 30 people? To the 30 people watching us, I'm gonna freestyle.
Not now, though. We always save that for the very last.
Yeah, Duell said, if you don't get this product, you're gonna look like you've been working in the flower fields.
Exactly. That's such a West Indian West Indian thing, the flower fields. But yes, I'm telling you, like, look, I'm moisturized.
And
And
it smells good. Yeah,
Okay.
great minds think alike.
All right. All right, people. Here we are. Thank you so much for joining us on this yet another conversation. I don't want to be too loud. Let me bring it down a little bit. But just so glad that you guys are here joining us. We're just so excited about talking about this powerful woman, another amazing woman. I think when we first started, we started with Dinah. Why do we have to play the horns for? David Michael. Come on, sir.
Yo, that's my
It's
G
too
right
early.
there.
We just started, man.
Nah, man, the show's about to start. We got to get the horns going. Get the folks ready. Get them hyped.
All right. So we spoke about Dinah, and then we went into talking about, was it
Vashti, or Vashti, depending on where you're from.
And then we talked about Tamar last week.
Mhm.
And then this week again, we're talking about another Tamar. Yes, so we're excited to talk about her because honestly, I'm gonna be real talk. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't even remember reading this story before. Like it felt as though this story is kind of lost, and I didn't even know there were two Tamars. I always thought there was one. So. Yeah, so we're going to get into it. But before we get into it, we want to introduce our special guest. She was with us last week and she just did a phenomenal job adding so much flavor and spice to this conversation. And we brought her back because we felt like she would do the very same thing today in this conversation. So without further ado, we invite our friend Nedra.
Bring them out. Bring them out. Bring them out. Bring them out. What up, Ned?
Bring it. Hey.
Oh, man. Hold up. She got to get the DJ horn.
She doesn't have to. All right. I feel like I need
Hi,
to start controlling this thing because it's getting out of hand.
Nah, the DJ
Where
horn.
people are now anticipating it or even requesting it.
That's why, yeah, you got to give the people what they want.
What-
Okay. All right. Amen.
Amen.
So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it without playing games or talking anymore. We're gonna get right into it. So this story takes place in Genesis chapter 38. And what's crazy about this story is that it's sandwiched between David being sold.
No.
Joseph.
David.
Not
David
David,
ain't born yet.
Joseph. I'm sorry. My
In
bad.
Genesis.
Genesis.
David
Right. So where Joseph, I believe, is being sold and he's in Potiphar's house. This is where this story takes place. And so I guess we can kind of talk about the story, kind of give some sort of
HP3. Let me do it for HP3.
Come on, man.
Last time. HP3, this is for you, homeboy. Shouting out, get the horn.
I feel like I can't. Let's stay focused.
All right. We were talking about sandwich in between. Joseph is sold into slavery. And the story pops up in here, and it's about Judah and Tamar. And it is a story that, I mean, you don't need Real Housewives of Atlanta. You don't need Bravo.
You
TLC,
don't need Jada and August and Will Smith. You don't need none of that.
Red Talk Tale. This is it right here.
Original entanglements.
Exactly. This is the entanglement.
Right. This is the original, right? Entanglement. But this story starts where it talks about Judah getting married and having 3 sons. So Judah has 3 sons, and the father marries him off to Tamar. So Tamar is married to the first son. I don't remember his name. I don't remember homeboy's name, but she is married to him. Who?
You with a name like that, you already know what time it is.
So she gets married to and is like evil. Right? That's all the Bible kind of says. He's evil.
He's from the
streets.
He ain't
right. He's from the streets.
He's
probably running the streets and whatever. So he's evil, and God decides to kill him.
Cut him off, man.
Right. So he's killed because of how evil he is.
Yeah, his behavior led to his demise. So let's just say, yeah.
What up, Adriana? What up, Claudia? I forgot to give her a shout out.
Word up.
Her tuning in. All right, so
Claudia should get them horns. She dope.
No, yeah, she is super dope.
Yeah.
Power to Claudia. Okay, so he dies, and so the father Judah is like, yo, my other son, I forgot his name, Onan. Thank you, David. Yo, props to David with the names.
Yeah, David, no.
He was like, all right, Onan, you up next. You about to marry your brother's wife. And so Onan is like, all right, I don't want to, but I'm going to marry her. So he marries her, and I hope there are no kids on here, but essentially, it's real talk.
Bible says.
Whenever they have sex, the Bible says intercourse, but we all know sex, intercourse, same thing, right?
Depending on the version you read.
Right. So they had sex. Of course they had sex, but when they did have sex, homeboy would take his sperm and like
spill it on the floor. He got that pull-out game on lock.
On lock. You can teach them.
Yo, your man's like, I ain't trying to have no babies with you, yo.
But his pull-out game.
I do want to talk though. Why did Onan do that? Right? Because the Bible talks about. Anyway, go ahead.
Onan ain't gonna pay that child support.
Nah,
right?
Onan did not. What'd you say, Nedra?
He did not want. He did not like his brother so much. Clearly, that he did not want to bring honor to his brother.
Correct.
Because first seed between Onan and Tamar was going to literally be seed, right?
Correct.
This tradition. So he's like, I'm not even honoring him that much.
That's right.
And therefore, I will not impregnate you.
That's
so
right.
I'm gonna pull out.
Yo, that's hate.
Yo,
that's hate.
Why was so graphic with that, yo? On the floor.
spilling that sperm on the floor. But he wasn't the first one. Wait, wasn't somebody else spilling sperm?
Don't slip.
I think he's the only one that I know of in the Bible.
Yeah, I think it was he's the only one that I know of that was.
Wasn't it who? I feel like there's somebody else in the Bible. Was it Abraham or was it Isaac?
Spilling no seed. He was too old.
He wasn't spilling seed.
Isaac was spreading that seed. I mean, Abraham was spreading that.
Well, God gave him permission. He said the stars, the number of stars in heaven are yours. So he was like, I'm gonna spread this thing. But anyway, focus, people. So,
hold up, break it up with a DJ horn.
So Onan is like, this is what I'm gonna do. God is displeased with what he's doing, and God is like, nope, I'm gonna kill you too. Oh, so Onan's gone. And so here is Tamar left desolate. She's now a widow of two husbands, right? And so now Judah, of course, he's Mr. Fix-It because he's the one that told her to get married to Onan. And so Judah is like, I bet I'm about to send you to your father's, but understand that the son Sheila is too young for you right now. So I'm gonna let you marry him when he gets older.
I like how you call her Sheila. It sounds like a sister.
I know, but that's
Shayla.
Sheila. But anyway, so she gets married, and no. So he sends her to her father, and she is now left desolate. She's husbandless, and she is childless. And the younger son is too young for her, and so Judah kind of promises her to marry Sheila or Shayla, whatever his name is. But he had no intentions because he was afraid that very same thing would have happened to and to Onan would happen to Shala, whatever his name is. Let's call him Shay. And so that's where we end. Well, the story doesn't end there. It actually gets really juicy. But you guys can go ahead and chime in the story because I don't want to tell it all.
Well, no, I think you're doing a good job.
All right, so let me keep going.
All right.
Never mind. Go.
No. I think, I just want to get to the juicy part.
All right.
Where, where she catch your boy Judah backwards pimping his
Yo,
pimp
dude.
game. She got that cat.
So she finds out that, so Judah's wife dies, and Judah is in mourning, and then him and his homeboy decided to go somewhere. I don't remember the name of the place. But
Timnah. They go to Timnah to share sheep.
Right. And so, what's her name? Homegirl. Tamar realized or heard that he was going there. So she says, all right, I'm going to go take off this widow outfit, and I'm about to put on an outfit with a veil. And I guess that was like the prostitute attire back then. It's interesting how
prostitute wear. It's
amazing how prostitutes were veiled, right? Versus now we see prostitutes, they are scant, like they don't have much clothes on. So it's very interesting. But anyway, so thank you. I know, David, you want to tell the story? Who's David?
Let me tell you,
David is a scholar.
David's a scholar. I went to school with David. And he's real super smart. He knows much more than I do. I think we need to let David do the show instead of me. But thank you, David. We're gonna keep putting your comments up there.
Yeah. So what were you saying, Nedra?
I don't know that that prostitutes veil themselves as much as women veil themselves, and she just changed her garment. So she took off her traditional widow garment and she put on a garment that a widow would not wear. Let's say that. You see what I'm saying? And that allowed her or afforded her to present herself as a prostitute.
Yeah, and so David said what I was going to. It was the attire of the temple prostitute, right?
Correct.
So they would cover their faces, I guess, to hide their identities, or it was just, the men. I mean, at the
obscurity.
End of the day, and men didn't really care about your face.
Nope.
They
just cared about that.
Yep. That slappy. So
wait, the slappy?
The slappy. That's what.
Slappy.
Yeah, that's what they called it in the Bible.
We're done here. Keep going, Carly.
Yo, he got to control the slappy sloppy.
That's all they cared about.
Okay. Anyway, I cannot. So she goes out there and meets him, and he's just like, yo.
He
Well, he
But
says
what ignited her to do that? What did she see? Who did she see
just
with him?
what's the guy? I forgot.
she saw homeboy. Come on, David.
Abdul. What's his name?
So she saw the son, that he was full grown, and yet she was still a widow.
Right.
So she's like, oh, so you really not keeping your word? So I got you.
Right. And so she goes and they have sex. And basically she's just like, she wants a goat. I think a male goat. And no, he said he's going to give her a male goat. And she's just like, I don't believe you. Your words are just words. Like, I need for you to do a little bit more. Give me a little bit more. So he decides to give her his staff and I think his signet, right? And so kind of to prove she's just like, yo, I'm not gonna go out like that. Like, I'm taking everything that I need to use or I can use to prove that we were kicking the boots or knocking boots or whatever it is.
Kicking the boots. Yeah.
Sorry, knocking the boots.
Right.
Okay, slappy sloppy. All right. So anyway, so she as payment for her services as a prostitute. So what else happened? So as they separate, whatever, they go their ways. All of a sudden, homeboy Judah is like, yo, I need you to go and find that girl because I need to give her a sheep and I need my stuff back. All of a sudden, no one has ever seen or heard about this person. And so Judah's like, what? I can't believe it. And so he was supposed to go and ask a second time, but he was too embarrassed. And so he decided, no, what's her name? Tamar heard that he was looking for her, right? and then oh gosh, when you went to the temple back then, WAP meant worship and praise.
HP3.
Yo,
you get the DJ horn for that. Judah went to the temple for WAP, and it wasn't worship and praise.
He says back then it meant worship and praise.
I know that's right.
Correct. And people need to understand, like, the times, like, Judah was so far removed from what he grew up practicing, right? That he is participating in this style of worship where it was
mercy
to sleep with a prostitute as an offering to whomever the god was of that temple.
Right.
Yes.
That's right. Because temple prostitution wasn't, something that strange. It was regular and it was normal. Right. And to be honest, now let's, I know we're not done with the story, but even in our society that we live in right now, pastors or ministers still treat women within the congregation like they are temple prostitutes.
Mercy, Jesus.
Y'all want to parlay there for a second?
Y'all want to park here, or you want to keep riding?
Let's go through. Just put a pin mark in that as we recap everything that's said.
Okay. All right. So here is he finds out that Judah finds out that basically whatchamacallit is pregnant. Tamar is pregnant, and his response is kill her, burn her, kill her dead. And that's something we will come back and talk about, the fact that how quickly he responded with kill her opposed to trying to figure out or find out whatever. So anyway, he finds out that she's pregnant. He's like, kill her. So as she's about to straight be killed, she's like, I have something to show. And basically she pulls out the signet and the staff. And it's almost like she's like...
Because the man who owns these is the father of my child.
It's the father of my child, right. Because he's like, how you got pregnant, you doing stuff that's out of line, out of order. Yeah. And she's like, oh, really? Now you want to come at me? Well,
really?
Who is the owner of this Gucci belt? And
Now, mind you, by the time she's done that, understand what the signet and staff were back in the day. They were like your ID card.
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone
Like
knew
this is your social security card.
Yeah.
correct. And so, and what I love in the story too is that news was carried to him. Come on, your daughter-in-law has been playing a hoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She out there pregnant. She up in these streets,
Yeah.
and he's like, oh, so now she's brought shame into his house.
Yeah.
Even though, we could stay here for a second. Even though he sent her away from his house, she still is a representative of his house.
It's called clap back.
Let's keep going.
That's that clap back. That's that ultimate clap back.
Because I'm like, so now he's still trying to preserve his weak pride because now she's shaming his home.
That's right.
That he sent her away from.
That's right. But his response when he realizes that he is the father of her, of the child, that he didn't know if it was twins, but he quickly responded and was just like, she's more righteous than I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like his confession and saying, you know what? She's better off than I am because I didn't fulfill my promise. The son, Shay, he did not fulfill that promise. And, at this point, she is what you would call desperate. She's desperate to be heard, to be seen. And by whatever means possible, she's like, I'm going to get what I need to get. And so basically she has twins and the Bible says that they never had sex again. And I'm just like, why the Bible needed to say that? Were they married? I didn't even know.
So that's such a great point though, because she wasn't trying to get into a relationship with her father-in-law. She's trying to fulfill her purpose.
Yeah.
Family
with
her father-in-law. Mm-hmm. And we see a turning point in Judah.
Right.
You can then assume that Judah turned back to righteousness.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because then he left that life. Because remember, Judah left where he grew up, his SDA home. just playing. Don't get me in the comments. He left his SDA home, went out there and found a non-SDA girl, slapping it up, living it up. And after this it's like this reconciliation of himself to righteousness, or to God. Okay.
Yeah. And it's kind of like also what these unfulfilled dreams or unfulfilled promises, right? Like that's what we tried to show today. And these promises that have gone unfulfilled has driven her to these, to go
that far.
I mean, to even go as far as to imitating a prostitute just to get what she was promised, what she was verbally. It wasn't like it was just some thought in the air or, this was something that was verbalized to her as a contract to say, hey, this is what I'm going to do to you. And man after man failed her.
Right.
Spilling his sperm on the ground. Onan. I'm sorry. Dies. Onan spills his sperm on the ground, which is intentional.
Right.
That's not like a mistake. That is an intentional act.
Right.
And then to see the younger one grown up and the father is there chilling, they sharing sheep and he in the mountains or whatever they doing that. She like, oh no, I'm going to get what belongs to me.
That's right.
From you because you said you promised it.
Right. Can you imagine these years of torment though, right? Understand what women were, and David, you can always correct us. Understand the worth of a woman at that time, right? So she was given into to marriage. It's a business transaction for a large part. So then she's sent back home to have to be taken care of financially by her father.
Right.
So now you're worthless.
That's right.
This year. So when she was sent away, he was young. By the time she saw him again, he was grown.
Yeah.
Right. So those years of, I say, torment, because we have no idea how her father treated her at home.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's worthless. I can't even pawn you off to another man.
That's right. Because she's a widow. A
widow. And she's had sex twice.
Exactly.
Right. She's had sex with 2 men. No man is going to come for her.
Three. I'm sure she had sex with Onan.
So 2 men. So at the time when she was sent home, she already had sex with 2 men.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
And we know other cultures, whatever, dig into, like, she looks like an omen herself. How you, one woman, 2 men have died mysteriously, right? Because if they don't believe in the power of God, of Israel, to them, it is mysterious.
Correct.
How men just die. What is wrong with this girl? So can you imagine the turmoil in her community, in her home? She's she's a failure.
That's right. She's a
Right.
stigma, right? Everyone's looking at her.
Failure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she can't win, right? So in our society, you know, she has
So
no kids.
yeah,
She's useless.
useless.
She's nothing. She's not a real woman. You know, and then you take it to our society today, which is still that stigma, still is very prevalent. And then if you have too many kids, you're loose. You know,
Right.
like
That's right.
you
It's the
can't.
extreme.
Right. And these are all narratives that are created by the dominant male patriarchy about women, right? And about
Mm-hmm.
their body. And I think that's also something that's important to talk about, how we define the way your body should be used, right?
Correct.
Or what your body should do and how it should look and how it should produce children and how many children it should produce. It's a really interesting dynamic to see how the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Very much so. And when you even think about
Yeah.
her two husbands,
Mhm.
she did nothing wrong in a
Right.
sense where the husband, the first one, he was evil. You know,
Mhm.
when you think about, when I think about Tamar, I think about when she first got married. She probably thought of the happily ever after concept. You know what I mean? Like you get married, you have kids, whatever. But she was widowed by God. I mean, God took away her husband because he was evil. That was nothing of her doing, right? It wasn't. It didn't say anything that she was whatever she was prostituting or doing it. This was all her husband's fault. So God killed him. The next husband, she's doing her her wifely duty, having sex with her husband. And the man is like, "No, I'm not trying to impregnate you. I'm going to spill this seed on the floor." And just thinking about her, how much she was not at fault. Like usually it will be like, yo, the woman is to blame. Like this woman is blameless in a sense where she is just sitting there doing what she has been brought to do, to be a
Can
wife.
you imagine feeling as a woman and that for her? Can you imagine? So he can carry that much hate,
Mhm.
right, for his brother to not fulfill his cultural duty.
Right.
You think he was a nice person too? I strongly doubt it.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so she's looking at this man who is refusing to see her even as the limited view of being a procreator, right? So the woman's worth in that day was to bear children, to
Right.
extend a legacy and a lineage. And even as that, he could not see her as. So this is a girl who didn't grow up being no prostitute,
Right.
but my husband treated me as a prostitute in our own bed.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, she did nothing. I cannot imagine how at wit's end she was with that
Yeah.
feeling.
Mentally, I mean, for me, if we were to make this as real and personal, like
Right.
for me, I would literally go crazy or feel like the need to go crazy or even go to the extreme that she had to go to in
Right.
order for her voice to be heard, in order for her to feel like, yo, this man, Judah, keeps dictating who, and it's almost like she was like a chess piece being played.
Well, that's what women were. They were just women were only for reproduction.
Yes, but I'm saying
And securement of partnership and business relationships.
that's right. Even though I feel as though that was the purpose of a woman, I don't think that women were any different than we are in terms of we have needs, we have desires, we have thoughts, we have opinions, we have all these things. Yes, even though that was kind of the thing of the day where having children was like the end all and of it all,
Mhm.
but I still feel as though she was still very much
A woman.
there was so much
We-
more to her
Yeah.
than just wanting to have children.
Yeah, and then the also other thing too is that the story is written by a man, so
Right.
you're not going to hear
Her voice.
her voice, the,
Mhm.
the female account, Tamar's account of how she felt these years of waiting to have this promise fulfilled to me. Like
Mhm.
I'm sure when she got married to her desire back then was probably like other women as well, to give my husband children, and
That's
not
right.
just children, give my husband a male child, which
Yes.
is interesting, right? Because you have Judah, and Judah as a man would want his legacy to
To continue.
be, Yeah, through having a male child. So you think he would do everything that he could in order to make sure that Tamar has a son. You know, like, okay, the first son died, and you would think that he would have reprimanded Onan for purposely spilling for pulling out. I like saying pulling out, right?
But that's what it is. It's pulling out.
Yeah, for pulling out. You thought he would have reprimanded him for pulling out. And I'm sure it's not just one time, constantly. Like, he intentionally did that. And then, and then we see also this, and I'm going to shut up soon. It's this dynamic of men can do whatever they want to.
And be unchecked.
It is a reoccurring theme, as particularly as we've been going through some of the women in the Old Testament, of these men supporting each other, encouraging each other to do whatever they want to women, and women have to pay the price,
right,
for what is being done.
Stay right there, Jamie, because what happens is, and this is also like brought up, I knew this was brought up in ordination, the only time these women these men were checked was by other men, right? So the story of Dinah, who had to check that fool? Her brothers.
That's right.
The story of Tamar from Samuel, who had to check that fool? Her brother. So it's only that's very important, and I want people to understand that, and we can move this to any level of oppression. Just because you are not the one oppressed, if you find yourself in the category of the oppressors,
that's right,
and you not share that mentality, it is your responsibility.
That's right.
To check them, because you see that they are oppressing.
Correct.
Say, in who woman or nation, are you okay with your classmate making less money than you?
Right.
Check that.
That's
Same
right.
thing with white people. Are you okay with your father being an supporter and downplaying all your friends of color? Check that. It takes courage from the people who are in the oppressed group, who are not oppressive, to check their fellow mates.
Yes, right. Yes.
Horns, bring out the horns.
Yes, exactly. And that's very interesting. That is very thematic, where all these men have gone unchecked. Like, was unchecked. Onan, unchecked. Shay, whatever his name, unchecked. You know what I mean? Like, not one man in the story. So because they went unchecked, she went and took matters into her own hands.
Clap back.
But where was her father?
Unchecking.
Boom.
Checking. Not unchecking.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's right. Because
I didn't take up for her either.
I mean, where was her mother? Where was anybody for her? Real talk. She had no. Sorry, Jamie.
No, go ahead.
But it seems as though she had to defend herself. She had to do for herself what no one else could, or no one was willing to step up to the plate and do for her.
Yeah, it's cyclical, and there's so many assumptions that we could make based on patterns that we've seen throughout the Bible. Perhaps this happened to her mother as well. Perhaps this happened to other women in the community as well, because women didn't have a voice. That's why this story of Tamar what she did was brilliant.
Yeah, she's a genius.
False.
Yeah, like
Tamar,
to say,
even in the oppression, to me, like I was telling Carlene earlier, she empowers me.
Yes.
She empowers me to let no one else define my story.
That's right. I am the author of that story.
Right.
That's right.
Right. And to say, nah, I don't want no sheep. I don't want no money, because here she is. She's like, sheep can die. The sheep are not going to tie me back to you. To you,
yes.
She's like, no, I need something I need your ID card, I need your social security card. Give me the Gucci belt.
The ATM card.
Give me the Prada sandals, because you're the only one in this community that be wearing the Prada sandals with the sheep fur. Yep. I want all of them joints.
Yes. So all of that.
Right.
It was important for her to reestablish her place in his house. Correct. And be publicly acknowledged for that, because that was her proper placement. Right. And that was where she knew she would be viewed as a whole woman again.
Yes.
And then, like, what else was brilliant too was, like, she's so smart, right?
Yeah,
so
she really is.
So she knew Judah was out there probably in the mountains shearing sheep for a few days. She knew he gonna want something. His wife is dead. he ain't been having no action lately. She like, all right, I'm gonna get this Negro today.
I some action.
Horns, Carlene blocking the horns. I need some tender satisfaction. Everybody, do your bogle and wine and butterfly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, man, she's smart. She's like, I know what this brother gonna need. He just coming down from the mountain. I got him.
But
Boom.
she also knew what she needed.
True.
She also knew what she needed. And
Facts.
she knew she needed that sperm. She knew that she needed.
Baby.
I mean, yeah, she needed the sperm in order to fertilize that egg, in order for her to have those twins. You know what I mean? And she knew enough. I mean, I'm just in awe of the fact that she had it all worked out, like all planned out. And what it kind of brought me back to is how, as women, like when we have a plan, and we're ready to execute that plan, get out the way. And get out the way.
And not just simply that, how smart Tamar was and how dumb Judah was. Like, Judah, this is a prostitute. Why are you ejaculating inside of her?
Unprotected sex.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Judah, use your brain, but she was smart. Judah was sharing them sheep, man. He wasn't thinking properly. And he was like, yo, man, I got to do what I got to do. And he thought that it would not come back to him because, number two, it's a prostitute. She's a nobody. She's just, a temple prostitute, a worker. I'm a man. I can do this. And also this as well, is that even if it came back to him by this temple prostitute and it was not Tamar, he could still get away with it.
Right.
That's right.
The other thing, too, is it definitely shows you in this story how much of a punk her father was, right? Because what Tamar did was very risky. Tamar could have been killed. Right? Her father could have been so ashamed that he could have killed his daughter and like she was lost in an accident. Like, because she brought shame on this household. But he was such a punk that he didn't even deal with her himself. He sent her back to the house where he sold her the first time, to be dealt with. And praise God. I see a lot of turmoil on Tamar's life, but what I see stronger than that is God's preserving hand on Tamar.
And the restorative part too.
Beautiful.
Even the restorative part, how she could have had two girls, you know what I mean? Like, she had two sons. Like, I know back in the day, like, having sons, that was like your lineage, your heritage will be able to be carried generations to come. And just think that God blessed her with two sons. That was like, it just showed how God does restore.
And that's a great point that I didn't even think about what you said about it. It's restorative justice, right? It is justice on behalf of her who was treated unjustly.
Two failed marriages.
That's right. And God is saying, I'm going to give to you what was promised to you.
Yes.
And preserve your life as well. Unfortunately, as we were talking about this before, is that it drove her to have to act like a prostitute. And so, what Carlene and I were talking about, sometimes you can't judge a person's choices if you haven't looked at their options.
That's right.
Her options.
Where's the horn?
Oh, yeah, I need horns. You get some horns for that. Quick bogle. Yeah, so, her options. What do you want her to do? She didn't get what she was promised, and then she was driven to become something that she probably never dreamed of becoming, all because of an unfulfilled promise, unfulfilled dreams. And as somebody said in the chat, that she was dying inside. Now God restores her through justice. And even that word, righteousness, in the Old Testament is translated as justice. And so here, Judah is saying she is more just than I am.
Because here she is doing whatever above and beyond to fulfill her promise to my family.
That's right.
When you're giving family, my promise, my place as a woman is to bear children for you, is to continue lineage. So here she is doing her part.
That's right.
Yeah.
All the obstacles. So she is more just than you because you did not do your part.
Yeah.
failed to do her part. And look at her doing whatever she can to fulfill her part.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think it's so encouraging even now. We were talking about how can we really relate this story and thinking about those unfulfilled promises that many women may have encountered.
Today?
When we think about, women having to step up to the plate and having to be head of households, where they're working twice as hard as a man, where they're really busting their butts to make things work for their families, all because of unfulfilled promises. Maybe that man in her life was probably like, I'll give you the world, honey, and then only gave her children, and she's just left unfulfilled with these unfulfilled promises. And just thinking about how God was able to restore Tamar, that he too can restore those women that also have had those promises unfulfilled. When I think about you have to say something?
No, finish your thought and then I can say what else.
When I think about my upbringing, I come from a broken home, and I think about those promises that were unfulfilled, even on my mother's part, but even on my father's part, where there were tons of promises that were never. And just thinking about how as a child, just feeling that emptiness, or feeling that like, it's always pointing a finger like, what's wrong with me? Am I not worth it? Am I not, I don't know, enough? Am I not enough? And when I think about, Tamar, and thinking about those unfulfilled promises and what may have been going on in her mind, but just really thinking back to, or going back to that restorative part, just really gives me hope in knowing that, I may be living in some real, living in a mess and living with those unfulfilled promises, but just knowing that God restores. Listen.
Yeah, and beautifully enough. Sorry, Nedra, go ahead. You go ahead.
No, it's important not to let the failures of others define you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because she could have chosen to be the unfulfilled widow.
That's right.
She could have chosen to be the thrown away, used piece of woman.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think today as women, so we have an interesting dichotomy that women have to live in, especially women who are products, or who have gone through a failed marriage, right? Or who have been failed by their fathers or any man in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So now you see women today striving for their proper righteous justice or placement,
mm-hmm.
yet still needing and still wanting the acknowledgement and fulfillment of promises from men as well.
Mm.
And so it's such a ooh. So we get called angry Black woman or Miss Independent, or like, whoa, if you understand where we are coming from,
mm-hmm.
and what the desperations that we have to do to attain the promises or the fulfillment promises that other people have failed us in, then more compassion to when you roll up on a strong, independent Black woman who is passionate, not angry. Thank you. But you know what I'm saying? It makes us, I feel this story of Tamar, every man should read, and it should make them look at women with a compassionate
lens.
I'm not trying to be independent because I don't want you to take care of me. I'm trying to be independent because I have not been taken care of.
Yeah. Okay.
Preach.
Get the horn sound.
That was a whole word, Nedra.
Oh, she need applause for that.
That was a whole word, Nedra.
And I was thinking about the whole restorative justice and what both of you were saying about the timing. And Tamar probably looked at the other Tamar and said, her story is not going to be my story.
That's right.
Or the other women said, I'm going to stand up for myself. And you think about unfulfilled promises, and even within the context of today of how Black women, Tamar can be an example of like how Black women are treated in America, or not just America, in this entire world, as second-class citizens,
right.
And promises unfulfilled. And look what's happening today in America. We have, as a vice president-elect, an African-American woman with a first name Kamala, right? Like, that's blacker than blackety black right there, right? To follow a president named Obama and then a Black man, now we got a sister named Kamala. Come on now. Restorative, right? It's coming.
We couldn't get a Jennifer, Black woman, right? We couldn't get a Rebecca.
We got Kamala.
We Sarah.
And it depends on which part of the tracks you come from.
That's right. That's right. But
Kamala.
there would be no Kamala Harris if there was no Shirley Chisholm, right?
Right.
And the women
Right.
that ran for office prior to her,
Before.
who were told, or women who didn't run for office because men told them, no, you can't do that.
That's
No,
right.
that's not your
Right.
place.
That's right.
And to see like how we still got a long way to go. But to
Mm-hmm.
see how things are shifting and to see women having their voice and being put on stages, and
Mm-hmm.
also too, if you look at what was happening, we as men, we have to be the
Mm.
ones to change the narrative and to
Right.
create the opportunities for women to tell their stories, because we pretty much have a monopoly on all the media, on all the tools that tell narratives, right? So it's up to
Mm-hmm.
us. The same thing when you look at white supremacy in this country. It ain't black people's job to fix this thing. It is white people's job to fix the mess that they've created.
That's right.
What you looking at me? What do you want me to do? No, you need to fix it, man. Like
That's right.
you made this problem.
That's
You
right.
fix it. So it's just like God's sometimes and I think the most frustrating part is sometimes waiting on God and waiting on His timing, because we want things so soon. But restorative justice is a theme that God cares about, and that is intentional about restoring those that have been hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you just brought up Kamala Harris
Mm-hmm.
up, and I'm just thinking back to kind of scrolling through different posts and thinking about memes and seeing memes and kind of people kind of lambasting or hashing. They're not being very kind to her.
It's unfortunate.
And
Yeah.
it's almost like, do you really hate yourself that much? You know what I mean? Seeing someone that looks like you, and you respond that way to history being made. I mean, like,
And when you are conditioned with this controlled narrative, you then start to recite what you've been told.
Mm.
You
correct.
start to repeat the narrative. The narrative starts to become you, even though it is not you.
Hmm.
And you regurgitate what you've been given.
That's right.
Mhm.
And until you can check yourself
That's
to
right.
hold those accountable to be checked,
Exactly.
you will
Exactly.
repeat this foolishness
Exactly.
and recognize it as the self-hate that it really is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and enough is enough, because even from this story, as you said, Nedra, about every when you see a woman's passion, especially a black woman's
Mhm.
passion, and it's oftentimes looked as angry, it's almost
Right.
looked as it's demonized, right? Like this evil thing that comes out of women, black women, when they're
Right.
passionate. And it's just our passion. This is how we speak, and this is how we communicate, so that we can, as you said, be fulfilled. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, we have had to man that fulfillment ourselves, right? Because of the past hurts or the unfulfilled promises. And so I
Yeah.
think right now, as women, this story is so empowering, because as Nedra and I were talking, we were talking about that line of knowing your worth and
Yeah.
not necessarily judging another woman's worth, right?
Or actually get to that word.
Or what it is that she took to get
Mhm.
to whatever her worth looks like to her.
Right.
Not
Right.
judging that. And I think it's so important, because oftentimes we'll see a woman doing something that we don't appreciate, or we judge her because
Or
exactly we shouldn't do that. Be like, you know what? That's her journey. That's her story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's her story that she's choosing to write. Just like Tamar was like, I'm not gonna let somebody else write the story. And it's very interesting. All the other stories that we've been talking about, we really have not heard the voices, and we didn't necessarily hear her speak. Her
But
actions
we
spoke.
yeah.
Yeah.
Her
Yeah.
actions spoke. And
Yeah.
so I think it's so important.
Yeah, and which is an interesting, and this may lead to another conversation. But I read this book called "When Chicken Heads Come Home to Roost," and it's by Joan Morgan. And in that book, Joan Morgan is like a hip hop feminist, hip hop womanist, and in that book,
Mhm.
she talks about how she is trying to live a life that's like circumspect and, trying to be respectful and walk and act and talk a certain way, and how she gets mad at seeing the Little Kims and the Foxy Browns and the Nicki Minaj's, to the extent where, further on the chapter she says, but I need to fall back because they're doing and they're using their form of female empowerment and to get what they need. And so I can't really hate on them. There's room for the Angela Davises
And
just
there's
as much
room
as
for
there's
Cardi B.
room for Cardi B. And as women, we need to support that, because oftentimes the immediate thing is to point the finger at, Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion to say, oh, they're destroying it for all women. And she's like, well, as a woman, they should be able to express themselves the way they want to express. It is still empowerment. It's just not empowerment the way you like it.
That's
or the
right.
way you want it to be. And so bringing it back to Tamar, and as Hurt Porter brought up that the temple prostitute was important, Tamar used what she had in her hand to get what she needed. That was her lane.
That was her platform.
That was her platform. That was her lane. And you got to give props to her and respect her because she's doing the doggone thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jamie, because what you're saying is, again, another example of regurgitating the actions of the oppressor.
Mhm.
So the oppressor puts themselves in this place, in the seat of the standard validator.
Yeah.
So we as women, we do that to each other.
Yes.
We are still trying to uphold the standards that were placed on us by men, and we dog out other women.
That's right.
Trying to make them uphold that same standard.
That's right.
What's happening?
Right.
So what your idea of worth is not defined by me for you. It's defined by
you.
We all know Christians here. God.
Right.
God gives me my worth,
Mm-hmm.
and then God imparts to me how that is to be shown.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole idea of sharing, like we let the oppressor off. And when I say oppressor, I'm not talking about the white man.
No.
Yes, he is a huge oppressor. I'm talking about being oppressed, period. Any type of system, power, standard, audacity that makes that creates a definition for other people is a form of oppression.
Mm-hmm.
And we regurgitate that same thing within our sisterhoods.
Yes.
And we fail each other.
Yes.
So am I going to tell you that, I do what Cardi B does? No, but what I will not do is rob Cardi B of her freedom of acting in her worth.
That's right.
Right. That's right.
It had to be my freedom.
That's right.
But I'm not going to rob her of hers.
That's right. And I'm sure what's very interesting is she, in her freedom, probably liberating some
more
other
people
women. Listen.
Than us in our stuck, oppressed ways.
Listen.
Liberate.
Like we've been super quiet about, I think as women, we've been super quiet about our desires, what we need, what we want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes we are able to act it out, like Tamar acted it out. We may not have the words to tangibly say, this is what I want, this is what I need, but you will see it in our actions, But I think it's very important for us to also be very mindful, not mindful, but just to think about Cardi B is liberating a whole bunch of females right now. Married, single, she may be doing that, but she's doing that in her worth. And I'm not going to sit here and judge and be like, yo, she wrong for that, or that's not my my right.
That's not your.
That's something
that
I should, and it's none of my business. Real talk.
The same springboard of you, exactly.
Right. And she does what she does, and she is, and I think that's what is so appealing about Cardi B is she is who she is. Right. She's not walking in somebody else's armor. This is, if you followed her from before the fame, before, all of this, she is practically still the same person.
It's very consistent.
Very consistent. And, and what she's doing is not new. I mean, anybody who's been alive as long as we have been alive.
That's right.
We've seen Adina Howard. We've seen Lil' Kim. We've even seen not Foxy Brown, the rapper, Pam Grier. With black exploitation, and just with her feminism and her, with her physique and her beauty.
The black.
That's right.
As empowerment.
That's right.
That's what Pam Grier for the Black race, for
That's
Black
right.
women.
Because
Made things that were considered tabloid for us or taboo empowerment.
yeah, because sexuality for Black women has always been looked at in a negative connotation,
Correct.
and it's always been defined by men.
Correct.
And
And who use that,
that's
right?
right.
So when the white master wanted to love up our sexuality, that was okay for his whim.
Correct.
But if we were to express that for our own,
Correct.
and I go back to the whole angry woman. I think people's response to us is not, "Oh, you angry." It changed that word, but really what it was is you have the audacity to speak. That's what people's issue is with Black women.
That's right.
That we have the audacity to defend and demand respect and what we need.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, and even
I do have the audacity.
Yeah,
and if that makes me angry, then I'm angry all day, every day, Sunday, Monday,
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sabbath.
And stay angry if I'm angry.
Mercy.
Sure.
Here we go.
Oh my gosh, I know you wanted to say something.
Well, I was actually going to just, elaborate a little bit more. As I think like the conversation is going back to, I don't want to leave the male pastor, the male patriarchy, off the hook in how we've seen examples of him treating his members, female members, as temple prostitutes and as objects to be used and just ride along to the next one, and then caught in indiscretions, and basically this, not get fired, just get moved to another church or just get hired by another church without any kind of repercussions. But that's simply because, pastoring is really just a male fraternity, where we automatically jump to defend each other, jump to protect each other. And you also have, as you stated, the women who will defend us and will blame the woman for entrapment, for entrapment and making the pastor do something that he shouldn't have done. She shouldn't have been dressing like that. If you dress like that, what you expect? She was all around him.
And that's the thing about even growing up. I'm remembering thinking, like, I had to wear pantyhose, stockings, because it was the right thing to do, right? Because wearing stockings or even wearing this at all.
Yeah. Girl, your shoulders are too sexy. You are distracting.
Shoulders. Everybody has shoulders.
Real sexy, girl. your clavicle. Ooh.
Oh. Just thinking about, like, no part of a woman was deemed normal. You know what I mean? Like, I have to be ashamed of my shoulders. I have to be ashamed of my knees. I have to be ashamed of my feet.
The cause of the fall. So they still repeating this narrative from Adam and Eve.
Exactly. Exactly.
We're the cause of the fall.
Exactly.
So he fell. He tripped in it, but I'm the cause.
So I'm the cause for the fall, which is crazy because, you know what I mean? Like, I understand, they always say men are visual, and I get it. I totally get it, right? But
y'all come get Hurt Porter on these comments.
What'd you say?
Y'all come get Hurt Porter on these comments.
Yo, HP3.
What is he saying?
HP3 is
Sorry,
my
the
guy.
sexual expression is squashed by Black women, not by Black men. Who does the punishing when a woman is out of line? What you mean hurt? What you mean?
Uh-oh,
you about to make us hurt you?
Come on, Carlene, that was amazing.
You need to come a little. You need to give us a little bit more than what you just asked, because I don't want to assume what it is that you're asking.
Oh, you heard by saying that women are very judgmental towards each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I will follow you by saying that, Hurt. But I would say also to Hurt on the other end that most men, if men like that look, they're not wifing that look. So it's not just us squashing the sexual expression. It's also men.
Yeah, but are they though? Are they not?
Are they?
Well,
when you think about, no, you said that men aren't marrying who again? What did you just say?
Yeah, so even if men like that look, they're not wifing that look. So
but they are.
Some of them, but not for the majority. The majority, still to this day, majority of men ain't gonna take that stripper home to be their wife.
I don't think
There
they'll
is still,
I don't know.
but that's what I'm saying though. Like when he says that we squash women's sexuality, I don't think that's just a woman thing. I think Black men do it as well.
Yes, for sure.
I don't think it's a thing where women are doing it more to each other than I think Black men have a hand in that too. But I mean,
Yeah,
for her,
it's shared responsibility on both
it's
sides.
that's
I
insane.
think
It's
black
that
men encourage it. I think that, because we're visual, we like it. But in
That's
some
right.
some cases, some black men will not wife that. They'll concubine that and have it on the side because it's 80-20. It's she's doing what my wife wants to do. But then there are some black men who want that, who are like, yo, wear that. I like how that looks.
But when you
yeah
think about Cardi B, she's married.
to
When
a
you think
man that
about,
would wife that.
you know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but I think that
She's
this,
not married to Obama.
but I think that no, but that's the thing. Like, I feel like in our culture, in our church, right? And I probably get in trouble for saying this, but I think the camera.
Yeah.
But I think
It's okay. Keep talking.
I'm sorry. But I think that it is very interesting. We have to be very careful as it relates to
Okay, we sorry.
saying if you look like this, your chances of getting married are far higher. Or if you do this, if you abstain from sex, if you do these things, your chances of having a husband or getting married are far higher than someone like Cardi B. I'm just saying.
Well, let's use a different example, right?
Okay.
Let's use Jay-Z and Beyonce. We have Beyonce who, for her concerts, the image can be in, sometimes she wears bikinis? Would you call that bikinis or tight,
bodysuits? She wears bodysuits.
Right, bodysuits. But then when we
Yeah.
see her in other spaces that she's wearing a long dress or whatever. So you see when Jay-Z met Beyonce, she was wearing those things and she was wearing regular dresses too. So it's almost like he married both worlds, right? He married what came along with her. I think for Cardi B, whoever she's married to, what's the old boy's name?
Oh gosh.
Migos. They all look like old women to me, right?
Amy. What is his name?
The Migos. I don't know what their names are. I can't take their music, but she's married to one of them, and he married what he saw, what he wanted. And it is what it is. I just think I really don't even know where I'm going with my thought or my conversation. I'm just saying is that the general rule is that some men like the Cardi B style. Some men like Quavo.
Sorry.
And some men like the Michelle Obama style.
Right.
And it's okay.
It's all gravy. It's all good.
All-
It's all DJ horns. You know what I'm saying? It's all DJ Storm. It's all applause. Marry who you want to marry. Marry who you want to marry. Just make sure you respect that person because at the end of the day, they are a human being and they are a woman created by God.
And fulfill those promises that you have set out to, or that you have promised. I think that's important too. That key of marry whoever you want to marry, but also, if you've made a promise, fulfill those promises so that you won't have a Tamar.
Right.
Or you won't have a woman doing what Tamar had to do. She had to go and fend for herself.
So everybody is saying that she's married to Offset.
Oh,
and so what I read too is that she's coming out with her new album that's going to address their relationship because he's had some indiscretions. Some extramarital escapades.
Don't say affair. Just call it what it is. It's real talk.
Yo, first of all, I'm a preacher, so we always find ways to use words creatively instead of saying what it actually
you know who you married, girl.
Exactly.
I know.
Married.
But I'm the one that pulls out just call it for what it is. Like, why we...
Yo, I already know what I'm about to call it for what it is. I'm about to do my rap because we've been on this show for over an hour and the people have been waiting. Yes, sir. I know they want to hear me. Don't you hear them clapping?
Unfortunately, I I don't have a beat today. I don't want to have a beat because actually I would just want to put end for the show.
Chill.
Because I think we've talked and
chill. Why you think
I
the people
think
come?
this
Yo, 1 2 1 2 people, beautiful
you
people.
ask the same question all the time, and
to
you
my
know that
40
two of them are gonna come on there and say they
Yo,
want to do.
let me
They
tell you.
want to hear you.
Let me tell you why this is prophetic. I'm 41, and we got 41 viewers
This
watching
is
right
not
now.
prophetic. This is just a number.
It's prophetic. So,
Jesus, you're such an Adventist.
Yo, to my people out there, yo, yeah. It's 41, but we not 40 years in the wilderness. You feel me? This is our 1 year coming out, and I think I'm gonna rap about that.
Hey.
Huh? What'd you say? You want me to mute you, Nedra? I can mute you real quick. You know what I'm saying? Yo, to my people, what y'all want me to rap about, yo?
Nothing.
J to the is a, I to the M-E. Give me, okay, we want bars. There we go. That's what I was waiting for. Here we go.
One person.
All right.
Dice 747.
Yo, that's my blood right there. Here we go. Yo, J to the is a, I to the M-E. What can I say about me? I guess busy. I'm up on the show. Look how I get y'all dizzy. You throw y'all into a fizzy, a hizzy, not Walker, Hezekiah. You's a liar because you trying to come here, but you know I got that fire. You trying to hire my peoples? Nah, we gonna take this back. I put you on top of the church like a steeple. I stand there, my rhymes are lethal. We wouldn't be here without my peoples. Look at HP3, Dice 747. We know we gonna do this going all the way to heaven. Yo, don't get caught in the world's leaven because it spreads. Gonna make you feel like you were 7, like the dude in the White House. Yo, it's live. I don't even call him by his name. I call him COVID-45 because he's a virus, like Miley Cyrus. Yo, look in the mic. I gotta understand. Do you got some pliers? Because stuff is loose, my G, and we gotta put it back together, baby. Yo, this is Jamie. I'm out. Give me the horns.
He gave himself the horns. Wow. That's all I can say. Yo, I'm weak right now, Arlene. I'm weak. Real weak right now because I cannot. But this has been another
album coming out soon, yo. Mixtape Jamie. I know they like mixtape Jamie. They don't like album Jamie because that's where they try to filter me. So I'm gonna stay mixtape Jamie coming out soon, yo.
What? Listen.
You don't speak that street language, so you don't know.
Who doesn't speak that street? Where are you from? Wait. First of all, pause for all my New York stands up. Right. All my New Yorkers stands up. Ask Jamie where he's from. Where his house resides. Where are you from?
Yo, I'm from Flatbush.
You're not from Flatbush.
Yo, chill, yo.
Jamie,
No.
Let's because you just talked about streets.
Yo,
where were you brought up? Where did you grow up?
Brooklyn, New York.
All right, Brooklyn.
But yo,
what part of Brooklyn?
All right, so my house is in Canarsie, but I spent most of my time in East New York.
Now he's lying. Everyone knows, Nedra, you've been to New York. Everyone knows that if you are from New York and you hear that someone's from Canarsie,
nice.
You already know.
Yo, I ain't no studio gangster, yo.
New York is Canarsie is that real nice part of
All right,
New York.
we want horns. People want horns. Yes, thank you. Wonderful. All right. We gotta end this show.
No, we don't, because guess what? You talking about your street rap. I need to put you on.
This show's been good. Thank you for tuning in.
George, you're losing points.
George said you losing cool points.
George, don't listen to the accuser of the brethren right now.
I'm just being real. You know what? Because he married me and we are one.
You give him the street cred.
York. Huh? What'd you say?
You give him the street cred, Curly?
I give him his street cred.
Yo, they trying to call me a studio gangster, yo. I ain't no studio gangster. I be in these streets, fam.
I'm
Cats,
so hot.
if I go back to Brooklyn, they know who I beat.
Okay.
They know me, yo.
You say you a Beverly Hills gangster.
Yeah, chill. HP3, yo. Hey, man, you making me lose fans now, man.
Pop
Look,
Smoke.
Pop Smoke. You know what I'm saying? Pop Smoke was from Canarsie. I'm from the hood,
Theo?
yo. I'm from the
Theo
hood.
is from Flatbush. Flatbush gets credit for being like, gets street credit.
I live down the street from Flatbush. Take a bus, the B6. Flatbush is right there.
Anyway,
yo, to
I
my
enjoyed
fans.
today so much.
What you say?
I gotta go. I enjoyed today so much.
Yes.
I gotta go.
Okay.
All right, Nedra, be safe in them streets. You know what I'm saying?
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. We appreciate this conversation. We don't know what we're going to talk about on next time, but we're just so glad that you guys were able to hang with us for almost an hour. Is it an hour already?
Yeah, it's been an hour. So please put your comments and let us know what you want to talk about. If there's a woman in the Bible that you want us to discuss, we'll be glad to discuss it. But we're gonna come back and same time, same place. And so this is Jamie and Carlene and a homie Nedra signing out. Peace. Sayonara.